the biggest thing that anybody that's going to, make a jump into real estate or jump into another business, know what you're getting yourself into, have a plan and execute on that plan. Execution is the biggest thing that you have to do as an entrepreneur.
Big it up, big it up. Yep. Clear in my face. Yeah. Here we go, go. Yeah. Here we go, go.
Welcome to Let's Talk Real with Mel. I'm here with the Jeremy Knight, the real Jeremy Knight.
Yeah, dude, I like
of the Knight Group in Austin, Texas. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your team. What does that look like?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I'm in Austin, Texas. We're a husband-wife team. We've been together selling homes together for almost 8 years now. I got in right before my wife did, and then pretty funny story. I'd been selling homes for about 7 or 8 months, brand new agent, and I was just overwhelmed. I was selling so many homes because I was hustling.
So you were hitting out the gate.
I was hustling 4 or 5 hours a day on the phones. I was hustling. So literally, my wife actually worked from home, and she sold life insurance. So I come home one day, I literally hung up one of her calls. I'm like, you would be much better served working with me and being a team versus making these calls. You can be making calls for me. Quit your job. And she literally quit that day.
So that was your first hire?
Yeah, but at first I had my wife. Yeah, but we've grown. So I have a pretty big YouTube channel where you get a lot of business out of. So hustling in different ways there.
Channel?
So it's just my name, Jeremy Knight.
Okay.
Moving to Austin Guide. We moved it to you're moving to Austin Realtor.
Okay.
But yeah, so we have that, and so we have about a 5-person team, and we hustle and have a lot of fun in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is that team? So your wife's license?
Wife's license, yeah. So the way we have it set up is that I pretty much do all the listings, work with kind of unique investor clients. My wife is pretty much my dominant buyer's agent, and then we have 2 other buyer's agents. I have a licensed TC, and then I have a licensed assistant.
Okay.
So yeah, and
So everybody's licensed.
Everybody's licensed, yeah. So having a licensed assistant was our latest hire, and it has been the best hire.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Got a licensed assistant, and so that way she can have those conversations.
Yeah. So like conversations. If we, if we're in a pinch and we need somebody to go unlock a door, or do any of those things right up a contract, we're compliant in our state.
Okay, got it. And now, hey, you're in Austin, killing it in Austin. What's your business look like right now? So the team, but what is how many families have you served? How many?
Yeah, so we roughly help about 80 to 100 families a year. That's kind of right in our wheelhouse. As we're growing our team, we're starting to be able to help more people. The biggest problem we were growing so fast, especially with our YouTube channel, that we couldn't really work with everyone that was coming through. We didn't have the bandwidth. So now that we've opened up and having more agents, we actually can facilitate helping more families. But our goal for this year was to do 100 million. We're getting pretty close to that.
Okay.
And in Austin, it's gotten really tough for the last few months. So the challenge with just the market shifting, but it has still been a very good year for us, and we're having a lot of fun. That's the most important part.
Okay, so you were getting basically more leads than you could handle, because you want to maintain a certain quality of service.
Right. And so, putting in those systems in place to really how a lead comes in, how can we actually talk to them, how all those conversations go, stuff that we really worked on over the last few months, because we realized that there's a lot of people that I'd run into. Be like, oh, I love your YouTube channel. It's so great. We actually tried to reach out to you and work with you, but we never heard back. So we bought a house over here. And it's like, oh, yeah, so many lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's fine because we got to help a lot of really amazing people. And the coolest part about having a YouTube channel is people get lost on your YouTube channel, right? They come in and they binge watch, right? You go to Netflix, you binge watch a ton of content, or find a TV show you love. Mm-hmm. What's great about the YouTube channel is people come in, they binge watch, and they feel like they know you. The greatest part is you have amazing clients you get to work with. So there might have been some missed opportunities, yet we got to help amazing people over the last 2 years, especially with the YouTube channel. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I know that it's tough when you hear those stories of I tried to reach out to you, I've gotten those before. Yeah. But the thing is, probably if you had tried to help everyone, you wouldn't be where you are.
Yeah, the service would have gone somewhere. It wouldn't have been great. So it's okay because I know what the missed opportunities are. I know how to fix it, and so that's what we're working on right now.
Okay, we're constantly improving, right?
I mean, yeah, you got to get better,
And speaking of that, I know we were both in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
How you believe in coaching and learning and developing and getting better.
Yeah.
And you don't do it all by yourself. You don't try to figure it out by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look, you think about the greatest people in sports. They had coaches at any level, even though they were the professionally held coaches. And I think that's how I approach, being in a coaching client. there's things that are going to always be a blind spot for us. No matter how much we think we know or how much we do, we're always going to have blind spots or need help in places. And so, especially like the Tom Ferry ecosystem that we're in, the great part about being an ecosystem like this is when I need help in DC or have somebody that, it's like, hey, I need a great agent in DC or Maryland. I'm like, I got somebody great for you. And how I know that is had opportunities. So that we've taken time to learn from each other. And so I can confidently tell my clients, well, this person's amazing because of all of these reasons. So not only just the coaching part about being a good ecosystem with amazing people is, I think that's bigger almost than just the coaching itself.
Yeah. So it's a combination. So not just the learning, the development, getting better on the tactical, but the relationships.
Right.
That you make in a coaching environment.
Yeah.
And in a coaching environment, and especially in this one.
Right. Right. And we would have never met had we not been in this system, and we wouldn't be able to learn each other from each other.
Right.
This is not being in this system. So
yeah, and I learned a lot from. I mean, you're the king on that. So I learned a lot from you.
Thanks, man. Well, I mean, look, I think you're crushing it and doing some amazing things. I would have never thought to like grow a brokerage. So I love like what you're doing and having all fun stuff there. So
yeah, we're working on it. It's a work in progress. It's always It's always a work in progress.
Yeah,
we're done. Even the top people are always working on.
Yeah,
trying to get better.
100%. Yeah.
So 8 years in real estate.
8 years, yeah.
What'd you do before real estate?
Yeah, so here's crazy. So I got out of college. I was actually going to go to a flight program. I found out how much the pilots made, and I was like, no.
Oh, so you wanted to be a pilot? Was that a lifelong dream?
Yeah. So I went to college, paid for my own college, did everything myself. Got really expensive really fast when you're trying to go through a flight program, and I find out how much pilots made right out of the gate, and I was like, this is going to be really rough for me. So at the time, I'd been working at Costco, and they're like, hey, let's promote you, and it's great. And so I was actually, when I left Costco, I was part of their sales department. We had the fastest growing sales department. We were crushing it. And so I knew the answer to this, but I went to my bosses and I said, hey, I just put another $250,000 in your bottom line. What do I get out of this? And they're like, oh, just
accolades, right? Accolades.
So it was there where I go, look, I have the business acumen. I've been through, adversity. I know how to get through things. I need to create my own business and create my own thing. And from there, I literally gave myself, like, you're talking about having cushy jobs with benefits and all that stuff. I left all that just to go solo and become an agent. So I was not going to fail. I think anybody in whatever you do, you have to have that mindset. I'm not going to fail. Because, the biggest thing in, whether you're in Tom Ferry ecosystem or whatever you're doing, your mindset is the best thing. It's going to help you the most. And so if you focus on one thing, like, we're sitting here and we're talking about listings. If you focus on going after listings, you will get listings. If you focus after one thing, you will do one thing. Same thing with my YouTube channel. When I started growing this thing, I said, I need to grow it. I need to grow it right. And so I learned what I could and just hit the ground running. And I knew it was going to be success. I knew I was going to get business out of it. No matter how many people told me I was wrong, how many people told me you're not going to get business off YouTube. And now people are reaching out to me going, hey, tell me about this YouTube.
Right.
And so
you were right a few years back.
Yeah. So I think, the biggest thing that anybody that's going to, make a jump into real estate or jump into another business, know what you're getting yourself into, have a plan, and execute on that plan. Execution is the biggest thing that you have to do as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's growing a business, as somebody who's trying to, level up in life. Mm-hmm. Having a goal and executing that goal are the most important things for you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point because we real estate is just one of the businesses that we're in.
Yeah.
So the principles apply to no matter whether you're opening a barbershop or a nail salon or a restaurant. Yeah. You have to market.
Yeah. Market
your food, market yourself.
Community. Yeah. You have to be active. You have to reach out and have relationships. If you can't do those things, it's going to be a lot harder on yourself.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of people, in real estate and in most businesses fail within the first few years.
Right.
Real estate has a very high failure rate.
Yeah.
And it's really, I think, because people just don't make a plan. They just kind of say, I'm going to open up, they have a dream, like the E-Myth, they have what they call it, an entrepreneurial seizure.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm going to open a XYZ business.
Yeah.
And then they don't really have a plan. They just kind of open, they find a lease, and then they look up and they're in business and then don't understand why customers don't.
Well, especially with real estate, the bar of entry is so incredibly low. I think it's probably why the perception of realtors isn't always the highest, because the bar is so low. You have the minimum producers and the high volume producers what makes the difference? Execution, having a plan, focusing on that plan. So the people that get into real estate, what happens is you go through, you take these classes, I'm a real estate agent, let me sell some homes, but you have no idea what it is to be a business owner. Now, the people that come into real estate having business experience and know what it is like to grow a business are highly successful very quickly. And so I think that's the biggest thing. If you're getting into an industry like this, or you're creating a business or creating opportunity for yourself, that plan and executing that plan, like I said earlier, are the foundation of you having success or not having success.
Yeah. So now, so like I had a mentor once say, you know, you plan your work, you make your plan, you plan your work, and then you actually work your plan.
Yeah.
A lot of times people do the planning part and then they stop short because they want to plan and plan some more and plan some more, and that execution sometimes doesn't happen.
Yeah, analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis. Yeah, you know, that's the thing too. You know, you hear the saying in our ecosystems. There's people that are ready to get ready, the people that are getting ready, and the people are just doing. Right. And so,
which one are you?
The one I'm doing. Yeah, I was great. And here's where, like, you know, it's funny because my wife and I are completely opposite. You know, when I look at what we're gonna do, I'm like, okay, there's the end goal. Let's get there. And my wife has to plan, like fully plan everything. And so like I'm leaps and bounds ahead of her. I'm like, yeah, this is the idea. Here's what we're going to do. And she's like, well, hold on. The cost of this and all this. And I've already like in my brain gone, we're going to here no matter what. So we got to figure it out.
Right. Yeah, no.
And
this is where we're going.
She's the one that fills it in. So it's good. Whatever you do, have somebody who's a complete opposite to you in your business, because it'll definitely keep you
accountability partner. Otherwise, we had driven off the cliff. But
the dreamers would just float off in space, which is me.
Yeah. I'm more of a doer too, so I need that balance.
Yeah.
All right. So earlier, you mentioned some adversity. I'm sure that you never had any. I'm sure that you started your business, you hustled, your wife starting, and then everything's been gravy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, real estate is just champagne and Bentley.
That's it. That's right. Past hors d'oeuvre.
Caviar. Yeah.
Share. I know you've you know, we've all had some adversity and some very significant adversity. You know, and this is, let's talk real. Share a time of challenge. It could be business, it could be personal, just a time of challenge and how you kind of overcame that.
Yeah, you know, I would say, just speaking about real estate in general, you know, if we look at it from a business aspect, my first year in real estate, I was up for Rookie of the Year. I was, you know, I had to figure it out. It was a full year of just grinding. Well, my second year in real estate, and we did okay. I mean, we only like $4 million that year, which, you know, if you look at commissions on that, it's not that much.
Yeah. So it's a 50%, right? $4 million may look good in terms of house sale, but the commission on that.
Yeah, you're talking probably made like 120 grand that year. Take 35% to the government, 30% to my broker, and all the fees, and you're broke. I usually I tell people like what it's like to sell real estate. Yeah, you make 100 grand, but you actually don't. You make like 20 grand at the end of it. My second year, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna expand and grow a team. And by the end of my second year, we had sold so many homes. We were so successful on paper. And so the bottom line, we're completely broke. I had taken all of the things that I was trying to get the business for this, you know, those people that call you and say, hey, we can help your business do this for, you know, $20 a month, right?
Right. Yeah, $99 a month.
Yeah.
And there's leads that up.
Yeah. You know, with real estate, you get $20 a month pretty quick, you know. Yeah. And so by the end of the year, I thought, okay, it was going to happen to me. You know, the thing that I thought that wouldn't happen to me, that I was working hard not to, was that I was going to have to get out of real estate because I was broke. And so I really sat down, looked at the expenses. I went through and looked at what was actually making me business or making me dollars and what I could cut out. And we dropped about $7,000 a month out of our budget. And the next year,
that's like 2 full-time salaries.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, most people, I mean, $3,500 a month is like a regular, you know, working salary, and so you were able to kind of trim, like the equivalent of 2 employees.
Yeah, and in 2021, when we finished the year and did our numbers, my CPA was like, you know, hey, you know, what was your margin? We're in 90% margin by the end of the year. So I run very, very lean, and I figured out how to run lean and how to make the most minor things get you the most amount of business. And so I think that was like learning that adversity and going, I have an option. I can go back to Costco and work at Costco, which I told myself I would not do, or I can figure this out and change the things I was doing wrong. I think that was the biggest like life lesson is sitting back, because sometimes, you know, we as high D, high I's, right? We run, but taking a moment to actually look at all those expenses and reevaluate my business, and we took off the next year. It was amazing.
So you made an adjustment, you know, an in-game adjustment, we would say. Because, you know, a lot of times, you know, and I've done it, you know, you have this plan, you're working this plan, and then you do the adjustment, you do the assessment, after the fact.
100%.
And then you look back and say, man, if I had only monitored my progress, like what you monitor, what you track improves,
Yeah.
as Tom says, right?
Right.
So you know what you track improves, and and so once you started tracking, you realize cut these different costs, and went from there.
You know, it's interesting if you look at like you know, if you measure success, the people who are more successful, it's all a bunch of decisions. It's decisions that, you know, somebody say, oh, you're lucky, or you're lucky. It's minor decisions that set you up to be in the right spot to be lucky. And so I think if you're doing anything, you have to think about what the end goal is, and very smartly make the right decisions. Now, you're going to make a bunch of wrong decisions. You're going to fail. Like in that moment, I had failed. And so, but I made the smart decisions, and I put myself in positions here and here. I did this instead of this. You know, one thing, especially in this business, is somebody is an agent that's struggling. I see this a lot. Agents are struggling or trying to grow business. They'll go after every piece of business they can instead of having the ability to say no to specific pieces of business that are going to take too much of their time. Like, okay, I'm going to make $10,000 right here. I got to do it. And then you waste all of this time. And at the end of it, you're mad at yourself, and you missed out on $100,000 business over that $10,000.
Trying to fill a piece of land.
Right. Yeah.
20 miles
Right.
outside it.
And that's the biggest problem in this industry. A lot of agents get in this industry, and you ask them, why did you get in this industry? Oh, I wanted to make my own schedule and the money. If you get into real estate for the money, you will fail immediately.
Yeah, there's not enough. I would say there's not enough money in real estate to do it just for the money.
Right.
You know,
100%.
you know, we help. I'll share. I love, you know, the people that we meet, the awesome families, and the lives we change.
Right.
You know, the money is ancillary to that. And
Right.
then obviously we need money to pay our bills and that kind of thing. But we meet a lot of folks.
Right.
A lot of cool folks. Like, would never have met you.
I know.
So
I met you.
Right. Tell me. I mean, we know you have a wife.
Yeah.
Husband-wife team. Kids.
Yeah, so we have a 10-year-old.
Goldfish.
Yeah, a 10-year-old son, no goldfish, 2 beautiful fur babies.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough whether you have 1, 10 kids. It's really tough to have kids and, you know, be in a business like this. And it's even tougher when the other half of your business is your, you know, your partner in life, right?
Yeah.
Wife or husband, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that is pose a lot of unique things, right? There's a lot of times my son, you know, it's interesting is I didn't grow up with having a business mindset. Just not my family is from a very, like, you know, not wealthy area of California. And so I didn't have any like successful people to look up to. And so what's great about the situation I put my son in, or myself and my family in, is that now, like, when we're doing things, I'm teaching my son the value of $1, like how to actually do this, why we're doing this. It's Sunday at 3:00 and we're working. Why are we doing this? Well, here's the bigger picture of why we're doing this at 3:00 on a Saturday or Sunday. And so it's great that I've been able to kind of, like, my son has been able to sit back and see a business in action. So hopefully in the future, he will be that business owner, or he will be able to be an entrepreneur on his own because he's seen.
And at least understand it and understand,
Yeah.
like you said, the value of money. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about that legacy.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing that's important to me. I know that's important to you.
Yeah.
And it's not really the money. We did a thing on it. So it's really about the mindset.
Right.
You know, that's how because if you have the right, if you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't matter how much money you leave your kids.
Right.
I
mean,
mean, it'll be gone.
100%. Like, you hear all these people or these stories of people that win the lottery and then they're broke immediately after. If I were to win the lottery, I would actually be even richer after winning the lottery because I'd know how to invest that, how to create ancillary businesses. I know I have that business mindset where 8 years ago, I would have blown it all like everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. But unfortunately that is a truth that happens.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on something you said, because I you don't see the husband and wife entrepreneur a lot.
Right.
And for very long.
Right.
I'll say a lot of, they may try it. That has its own set of challenges, which we'll probably talk about another day. But the child or children in that situation, it's one thing if you have, the husband entrepreneur or the wife entrepreneur, and then the other person has your typical 9 to 5, and then that way that dinner and breakfast and everything can be handled by the one spouse. How I mean, from your perspective as a dad, how do you think your 10-year-old really looks like? Man, my parents are super busy all the time.
Well, what's interesting is kids just need attention, right? And this is something, my son's 10 now. It's something I've had to really sit and understand, because there's times where you're trying to work on something or work on a project and they don't get why you're not helping them or you're not giving them attention. what's interesting is if you make them part of what you're doing, they will be more attentive and they want to actually be involved. So the more you're giving them attention by allowing them to be part of your process or your business, it actually is better for them because they just want to be involved, right? And now you're still spending time with them, and that's all they want. They want safety. So you're showing them safety. Now, there's times where, you know, I'm in the other room clinking away and I could hear my son on a video game. I'm thinking to myself, okay, how can I get him involved in what I'm doing? So now, like with the YouTube stuff, I have him involved in shooting content with me. I have him involved in like, hey, sit down. I'm going to show you how we edit these videos. And so he's sitting here learning, and he's like, I want to create my own YouTube channel. I'm like, no, you can't create your own YouTube channel. He's like, why not? I'm like, you can't create it until you understand the process.
Okay.
And so now he's engaged.
No, he wants
I've
to
told
learn.
him no.
Okay.
I've told him no, and now he wants it even more.
To turn the no into yes.
So now he's learning how to shoot, how to use a camera, how to create content, how to storyboard and tell a story. So he wants to be involved because at first, if you give a kid a camera, what are they going to do? They're going to make some like silly content for other kids, right? There's silly things, goofy faces, play with toys. But now he's like thinking about storyboarding. He's thinking about how to do things, how to film different angles, all of these things. And I've made him part of the process instead of just going on my own and like,
my phone. Yeah.
here's the
channel.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So he might be the next Jeremy Knight coming up. And
if he does, cool.
yeah, taking over the channel.
Yeah.
Actually, at the show.
Hopefully it'll be like more the more like Michael Bay, but you know, that'd be cool.
All right. And so now, share. I mean, that was some. I mean, you know, kind of how you started in that. You know, kind of I'll say, you know, come to Jesus moment of, am I going to, you know, go back into 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Or, you know, damn it, this thing has to work,
Right.
And make it work. But share a time when, you know, kind of a unique situation or a wild story that you had with like a client. I know we all have lots of like interesting stories.
Man,
you have a story that you could share. This is a PG-13.
PG-13?
Yeah.
13? Okay.
Yeah, 13. Yeah. So we're good.
Okay. You know,
Oh yeah, they have the other in R17. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
13.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in this industry, in this business, there's a lot of times that I've had to make tough decisions, and a lot of it comes down to, is this client the right client for me? You know, I can't think of a moment, like, we all have the daily stresses, and I could tell you all the daily stresses, and people are like, that's a lame daily stress. But there's a lot of times I've had to say no to clients, and that's a very, very hard thing to do, especially when they're multi-million-dollar clients, and you're looking at, man, I can make $100,000 paycheck right here. Or I can work with somebody that's going to actually make my life miserable. I'm probably going to get sued at the end of this, and it's not worth it. And there's been several of those instances where I go, you know what, this is just not worth it. I had a guy the other day, literally this was like a week ago, and this guy's reaching out to me, and we're starting the process, wants to buy a $6 million house in Austin. I'm like, awesome, let's find a $6 million house.
Let's do it.
And then as I'm asking more, no, but most people would see, okay, let's run, $6 million, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Get in the car.
But I've been in this, I've been burned so many times by people that, you know, what's the saying, buyers are liars, right? I mean, I don't think necessarily buyers are liars, but buyers just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And so as I started asking more questions, some more of the things started to like not make sense. And so finally I got to a point where this guy's like, are you going to write offer for me? No, I go, no. And this is just not for me, too many red flags. I had a scenario where, and then from another scenario, I helped this guy who was like, we got to hustle through this, rush through it. We rushed all the way through. We got to the very end of closing a property, and the lender was like, this guy's not approved. We haven't done anything on this file. And this guy lost $53,000. I kept warning him, you are about to lose $53,000 on this in earnest money. This is a $6 million house. This is a different scenario.
Right.
You
need to get your stuff together.
And it was such a time suck for me because it was constant. I was on the phone with his lenders, on the phone with the other agent. The other agents was mad because then we had to push closing, and then we had to push closing. And they're like, if we push close again, he's losing his $53,000. We're done. And we got to that point, and he lost $53,000. But he goes, Jeremy, I go to Sonoma and spend $150,000 on wine. $53,000 is nothing to me. I'm like, okay.
Well, it's something to me, right?
Yeah.
Time,
Yeah.
and the effort and your reputation.
And so being that I have been in that situation before, now I can tell this guy like, hey, this just has too many red flags. I don't want that situation again. Now I could have closed that deal. It could have done that. But I don't know that it was going to be 100% because we lost that. He lost that 53 grand in that other scenario. And I had to walk away with $0 in my pocket. And all those other clients that I would have helped in that time got pushed by the wayside because I was so focused on
that one
$6 million transaction. 4 months later, he goes, hey, I want to buy a house in San Antonio, which is an hour and a half away from me. and it's a $4 million house. Can you take me to this one? And we put that under contract and close it. But that was a nightmare in itself too. So, my whole point is people chase dollars sometimes, and sometimes you can't chase the dollars. You have to go and trust your gut and go with the people that you know are going to be good for you and your business.
Right. And all because it's not just the money loss is one piece, the time lost, which you can't get back. You were able to get the money back on a different transaction.
Yeah. For a lot
or 65% of it.
Less.
Right. But you did twice the work because you did the whole work the first time, but your reputation with that agent on the other side of the transaction,
exactly,
you look like
it. Yeah, and thankfully, I was very transparent with the other agent about the situation. What we can be transparent with. And there's just a lot of things we can't just disclose about our clients, but I was very transparent about what was happening. So we still had a great relationship afterwards. But it had it been anybody else probably in that situation, it may not have worked out. And, when you're looking at trying to break into a luxury market and you're one of your first big luxury deals and you fumble it, even though it's not your fault, you fumbled it.
Yeah, we take the blame.
Yeah, we take the blame.
It doesn't matter.
You're going to tell me that not other agents aren't going to hear from her about how bad Jeremy Knight was on this transaction, right? I'm sure she probably told quite a few people, but it makes me look bad because I was chasing dollars on that one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good story.
Yeah,
man. But at least he did come back and get it.
Yeah.
So,
but at the end of the day, I still have gotten 0 clients from him after that, and I still have that bad experience in my mind, right? So that's the thing is like I can go after and help a client in the $400,000 or $500,000 price point, right? Or even lower. Maybe maybe you're helping somebody with a trailer. Like in Austin, we have on the outskirts you have a lot of like single wide lots and things like that. So you're talking like less than $100,000 deal. You can spend more time with having a happy cheerleader person, like they become your cheerleader.
Right.
And next thing you know, maybe you're selling one of their friends a $300,000-$400,000 home. Now you sell one of their friends a $500,000 home. And then now you're working with clients you would have never worked with because you went after people that would become your cheerleaders. And that's one thing I really love about the YouTube channel. is when people are done, they become my cheerleaders again, because they've already watched the channel, they trust us. And that's the biggest thing. I think, as real estate agents, if you think of the hierarchy of like trust in business, like you have lawyers down here and realtors are like right there, right about at the very bottom of the barrel as far as trust goes. And so when you're able to put out content and give people information that is not necessarily just all positive, but truthful, like, hey, here's the truth of the situation. Here's a good, bad, and ugly. Once you've built that trust, then it makes it a lot easier in your business because you've built a business on trust.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you're coming from what I hear you saying is you're coming from a place of service, ultimately. So you'll help the $6 million client, and you'll help the $80,000.
Yeah, you get burned by one $6 million client, and you realize you appreciate the clients that are at other price points that are going to be your cheerleaders and fans.
Pretty cool. Cool. I've got a quote. Let me read the quote of the day. Ideas are yesterday, execution is today, and excellence will see you into tomorrow. Julian Hall. Quote of the day.
I need that quote.
All right. So if I have, I know you're huge YouTube. You can search Jeremy Knight on YouTube or just on Google. But if someone wanted to talk to you about maybe joining your team and they wanted to be a kick-ass realtor like you, or they wanted to buy a house in Austin or sell a house in Austin or in the surrounding area, how would we reach you? Yeah,
easy. So you really could just find me on YouTube. All my contact information's there, just Jeremy Knight. Instagram @TheRealJeremyKnight. I have a lot of people DM me like, hey, saw you on YouTube. You want to get in touch? Great way to do that as well. You can go to our websites as well, AustinKnightHomes.com, all of those ways. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. It's been fun.
All right.
Your camera guy's awesome, by the way.
Bring it up. Clear in my face. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Play games like